Hello, this is Rebecca McDonald with Purearth Organics, and I have my lovely assistant Naya with me today. She's going to do the milking. And we are going to go over making simple nutmilks. So again, one of the things that we get asked a lot about at the store is, where is your Tetra Pak coconut milk, or where is your Tetra Pak almond milk? And they're always disappointed when I say we don't carry it. So the main reason why we as an organic food store don't carry packaged almond milk, coconut milk, is because it is so hard to find one that doesn't contain additives and chemicals or things like carrageenan that act as thickeners that really are the main part of your milk. So it's there's companies being sued for, in the Tetra Pak containing less than 1 almond in their almond milk. So it's thickened with carrageenan, which there's concerns about that and how it disrupts the digestive system, and the other preservatives that we don't need and we don't like. So we don't carry them. But what we do recommend to our people is that they make their own. It is so easy. And yes, it requires a little bit of time, but your nutrient value skyrockets past the thousands, and it's so much more delicious than the Tetra Pak milk that you're going to buy in the store. So you can take a look at the nuts. These are just a few of them that you can use. And what we're going to do is we usually use a 1-to-4 ratio. So 1 cup of nuts to about 4 cups of water to make really beautiful, simple nutmilks. If you look at the cost value of it, honestly, it's not that much different between making your own and buying the prepackaged milk. But the benefits far outweigh. We were just talking about how we love to soak our nuts, and then when we pull them out, you can see that this little thing is coming apart. You can pull off that little outer shell that it has, and it's like this fun little project that we do, and then we eat them like that. But you leave these on because they actually do contain some of the nutrients. So soaking our nuts. The reason why you're going to soak your nuts, preferably overnight. So nut milk will last for about 3 to 4 days in your fridge. It doesn't last that long in our house because everybody drinks it the first day pretty much. That means you drink it. And we soak our nuts because what this does is it releases some of the enzyme inhibitors. It also takes off the dirt and kind of the sludge from the nuts and the processing, but it helps wake things up. So when we soak our beans, our legumes, our lentils, nuts and seeds, we're really making them far more digestible. You're not going to drink this liquid, you're going to discard it, or you can water your plants with it. But you're not going to use this as the base of your nut milk. You're going to actually drain it and strain it off, and you can go do that for me. Give it a little rinse. So I will usually, the night before, if I have no nut milk in the house or no milk, I will soak some nuts overnight, and in the morning, it's usually this girl that makes the nut milks in our house. So what do you choose to make your nut milk out of? Cost-wise, we usually like to pick 1 nut, have that soaking, and then we cut it 50-50 with a shredded coconut. The reason is that shredded coconut's just so cheap. It has really great fat in it, and it goes perfectly with something like a Brazil nut or a hazelnut or an almond. So when we make our nut milks, we usually cut it half with shredded coconut just to make it go and last longer. One of our favorite nut milks is Brazil nut milk and coconut. Brazil nuts are like one of the very few remaining wild nuts available to us. They've never really been domesticated. They are really, really high in selenium. So anytime you can eat a few Brazil nuts, 3 a day, kind of gives you your daily for selenium. Mac nuts are really great. So nuts that you would soak compared to nuts that you don't really need to soak, macadamia nuts and cashews, they are way more fatty. So if you're in a bind and you want some nut milk quickly, these ones, you don't necessarily have to soak them all of the time. But if you're eating almonds or hazelnuts or walnuts or things like that, it's a good idea if you're going to be drinking them as a nut milk, because you're eating larger quantities of them, to soak them and to do that. So today we are going to make an almond, and we're going to cut it with some coconut, shredded coconut. So I have about just over a cup of water in here, and I'm going to add in my nuts, and I'm going to add in my shredded coconut, I'm gonna get Naya to blend this up. And I leave a little bit of water, probably only about a cup and a half to start. And that's just so that the blender can do a really good job at homogenizing all of this together. And we'll just get that going. Naya, who's reading Harry Potter while she's supposed to be helping me with a video. There you go. Blend that up for me, girl. Okay, and you let it go for a good long while until you can see it's pretty thick, but most of the nuts are broken down. And another little trick, if you use warm water as opposed to cold water, and again, it's always spring water, the best water that you can get. If you use the warm water, it'll pull more of the fat out of the coconut and the almond milk. And really, you can make your ratio however you like it. So if you like it a little bit thicker, put a little less water than 1 to 4. If you wanted to go a little farther, put 1 to 5. All right, Naya, grab an extra blender. Start milking that baby. Up there. So this is our nut milk bag. It is just a mesh. This one's plastic. Sometimes I have material ones. You can make them yourself or you can sew them. Or they're available online or in stores or wherever you can find them, really. So this is going to take out the fiber from your nut milk. Again, if you're using macadamias or cashews, you don't have to go through this straining process because they're so easily blended. They don't leave much fiber left in there, but the coconut really leaves a lot of fiber. If you like it, you can leave it, but most of the time, we like to strain out those harder nuts through the nut milk bag. Okay, ready to milk it? Oh, look at that. There was a hole in the bag. That doesn't work at all. All right. Okay, this is our well-used nut milk bag. This one is more of a material one, so it's much more sturdy. See there, it's much bigger as well. Yeah. Okay, and then you just start to gently milk the liquid out of that bag. You kind of squeeze all that you can, all the liquid out of there.
It's actually surprising how much fiber in there.
Yeah, there's a lot, well, especially if you use coconut. There's a lot of fiber in that coconut. But what we do is we never throw this out. This is like perfect almond coconut flour. It makes great cookies. Cookies, we'll also use it as the base of raw pies and desserts. So you have this pulp left over that you can throw it in your oven or in your dehydrator, and it's perfect flour. Kind of all ready to go. What I usually do is I have a Ziploc bag full of this stuff in my freezer, and then when I have enough to make it worth putting it on a cookie sheet and drying it, or putting it in my Excalibur dehydrator and drying it, then I'll do it all at once. But for now, or sometimes if we're lazy, it just goes to the chickens. Okay, this is your nut milk base. It's just almond and coconut, and it's absolutely delicious. And it tastes so much better than the stuff that you're going to buy in the Tetra Pak. But we're going to take this one step further just to make it even more delicious. If you like it plain and simple, you can leave it that way. But I always like to add a little bit of this vanilla powder. And that is like true, real, beautiful vanilla. Maybe a little more. Just a pinch of that. And always a pinch of salt. So salt will bring out the sweetness, add a little bit of that zing to it. I never leave out salt when I'm making a nut milk. And dates are optional. If you don't want it to be sweet, leave them out. But we usually like to add, even just 1 date. Okay. So a little bit of salt, a little bit of vanilla, and 1 date. It takes a while to do the date. Yeah, even with a really great blender, the dates take a little bit longer. Okay, this tastes amazing. So much better for you, so simple. You can do this make enough for the next 3 days. And this is why we don't carry Tetra Pak milk.